My name is Artem, and this is Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. Highlights from Ukraine is an uncommercial initiative of just two people, and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. For 374 days, Ukraine stands strong against the forces of the Russian invasion. Fierce fighting continues in the Ukrainian city of Bahamut in Donetsk Oblast. Russian forces have not taken it under control, reports Ukrainska Pravda. Spokesperson for the eastern grouping of the armed forces of Ukraine, Serhiy Cherevaty, said that the fighting in Bakhmut is concentrated more on the outskirts, with the city controlled by Ukrainian forces. Ukrainian troops change in Bakhmut, fresh forces come in, but there is no withdrawal, stressed Cherevaty. Earlier, British intelligence pointed out that Ukrainian defenses in the city are under increasing pressure. The regular Russian army and Wagner Group forces have moved further into the northern suburbs of the city, which are now a Ukrainian-held border vulnerable to Russian attacks from three sides. It is noted that Ukraine is strengthening the area with elite units, and in the last 36 hours, two key bridges in Bakhmut were destroyed. This includes a vital bridge connecting the city with the last main supply route from Bakhmut to the city of Chasiv Yar. According to the German publication Rheinische Post, the German defense company Rheinmetall is negotiating with Ukraine on the construction of a tank plant on Ukrainian soil, reports Deutsche Welle. CEO Armin says that such a plant could be built in Ukraine for around 200 million euros. It could produce up to 400 Panther main battle tanks a year. Panther is the company's newest tank, presented last summer. Paperger also noted that negotiations with the Ukrainian government were promising. He hopes a decision will be made within the next 2 months. The Rheinmetall chief is convinced that the plant can be defended against Russian air attacks, noting that protecting it with air defense will not be difficult. According to him, Ukraine will need 600 to 800 tanks to win, and their construction needs to start quickly. Even if Germany gives all its 300 Leopard 2 tanks, this will be too little, Paperger said. Rheinmetall is currently planning on supplying about 250 tanks to Ukraine. Paperger said that they have already commissioned more than 40 Marder infantry fighting vehicles, and by the end of the year there will be 100. Of the Leopard 2 A4 tanks, about 30 tanks are ready. In addition, there are about 100 Leopard 1 old designs, of which they can make 88 serviceable. The head of the company suggested that the war would continue, perhaps for several years. Paperger believes that Western allies are sending enough weapons to enable Ukraine to defend itself, but the Ukrainians today do not have enough equipment to fully reclaim their territory. Head of the European Parliament Roberta Metsola visited Ukraine, met Speaker of the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine Ruslan Stefanchuk and President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky, reports Interfax Ukraine. She stressed that peace is impossible in Ukraine without accountability for war crimes, including Russian President Vladimir Putin. Metsola noted that during the meeting with Prosecutor General of Ukraine Andriy Kostin, she saw significant progress in the creation of the Tribunal on War Crimes and very good proposals. Head of the European Parliament added that it is important to make sure we have mechanisms in place to collect evidence of the crimes first and then prosecute them. When talking about sanctions against Russia, Metsola added that this work should continue as there are still gaps in the sanctions mechanism. Bloomberg informs that Russia circumvents European Union and G7 sanctions in order to obtain critical semiconductors and other technologies for the war in Ukraine, reports Interfax Ukraine. According to an unnamed senior European diplomat, Russian imports in general have largely returned to their pre-war 2020 levels. And analysis of trade data suggests that advanced chips and integrated circuits made in the EU and other allied nations are being shipped to Russia through third countries such as Turkey, the United Arab Emirates, and Kazakhstan. And these modern chips and integrated circuits can be used for military purposes. He also noted that deliveries from China to Russia had also increased, as Beijing plays an increasingly important role in supplying Moscow. The Dutch prosecutor's office has opened 45 criminal investigations against companies and individuals suspected of circumventing sanctions against Russia, reports European Pravda. 29 of them are related to violations of import and export rules. The remaining investigations concern violations of financial sanctions. As part of one criminal investigation, a criminal case has already been opened in which a person is suspected of exporting microchips to Russia via Kazakhstan. If you like what we do and would like to tip us, you can now do so directly to our PayPal. Check out the link in the description to this episode for more details. And as usual, you can subscribe to our Patreon. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.